in city of Los Angeles, but it could be used for other purposes as well. We're just, at this point, we're just showing the population or the density of the homeless people throughout the city of Los Angeles, and there could be other sources, other external data that could be plugged in and targeted for a variety of reasons, right? We also talked about schools and universities and student population, so it's a very universal type of a tool. We're not going to go too much into the demo of that, but we'll be happy to answer some questions. The picture on the left talks about how do we make people feel safe, right? Some people might have an idea, if I do this survey, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm okay. What about my grandma that lives with me, and so on and so forth? So I think it's important for people to realize that the census that's being done, it's not going to be used for other purposes. And that's a message that should be driven to people in multiple fashion, and we need to be very sensitive, like, for example, the Hispanic, the Latino population versus, and just kind of find the right channels, the right communication, the right messages with the right people. On the right side, we have a screenshot of the mobile application, which will be demoed to you guys. And that's the actual phone number. Is the demo, can somebody actually text if they wanted to try right now?
We can talk about that during the Q&A.
Okay, we'll talk about that, okay. But basically, it's a texting application where you just basically answer very quick, like, you know, yes, no, and then it just gives you the next prompt. And you will see a lot more of that. We're gonna be about 3 minutes doing that, so I'll skip over that as well. This is the landscape. We kept this in mind when we were trying to think about the possible solutions and, you know, how we came up with a possible impact on the people and what's the number of people that will be impacted. And here's a couple of pictures, and we just wanted to demo to you guys and kind of like get that idea out there. How do we communicate with the pictures even that, you know, if you do your census, if you complete your census, if more people complete the census in a community, then you would have better government representation, you will have bigger budget coming into for local services. As a result, you'll have a happier, better community. And if you don't have the dollars, you don't have the representation, then, you know, there might be some challenges, right? Somehow to make people see the connection to them, to their families, to their neighbors. That's really important. That's it. Thank you very much. We're going to do the demo, and then we'll take the questions. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Olivia, and this is Patrick. Hi. Today, we are going to show you our demo. And we, just reminding that we use JavaScript and not JS, and here is our demo.
Technical difficulties, I'm sorry.
There we go. Yeah, we do.
So we met the requirement then. Yes.
Hopefully we're the last one. Okay. Well, there's my phone. You can see. Oh. Hello, everyone. Ooh. Sorry. Is this a good volume? Yeah? All right. We wanted to make something that would address people. We saw a great app that addressed education and telling people why they need to do the census, but we wanted to make it easier for people to actually do the census. And a lot of people in these hard to reach areas, if they're homeless, if they're very low income, they don't have an address, and a lot of them don't have regular access to the internet. So we thought it would be a good idea to make something that could be accessible by just a phone. And if you think about how much it costs to rent a place versus how much it costs to have a phone, this is something that's almost globally accessible. We also wanted to target people who were not so literate, which is also one of those key demographics that are underreported on the census. So we made one thing specifically to reach out to young people. I have some experience. I taught in Watts and South Central, and a lot of the times, the kids there are, their parents are immigrants, and they don't speak English very well. And their parents depend on them to translate and also to use technology. So having a simple app where they just have a number, and we could post the number with posters that are easy to read. We could have them out in schools. Would be so much simpler. So I'm going to show you what the process would be like. You just text this number, and it'll text you back some instructions. So you can see it gives you a basic welcome message. This is just mirroring my phone. And it'll ask you to confirm when to start. And then it'll ask you these questions, and you just respond 1 through 5, and you put in your answer. Can everyone see this, by the way? Okay, cool. So it's basically that. Rather than having to go online with internet access. Rather than having to go to someplace physically, and that's something, especially if you're physically challenged, you could just use this easy text interface. But a lot of people, they're not literate, they can't read. So we also wanted to have an option for people to call in. Can you hear?
Or answers when prompted. Are you a citizen of the United States?
Okay, so that's the demo for the English portion. Olivia is Armenian, and we also built something else.
And also, we know that we have huge people that, for example, mentioned that 2.3 million people, they don't know English, or they are poor English. So we also prepared those person that they, for example, I'm Armenian, we can prepare Armenian, but there is also available lots of other languages that there is available. For example, now we are doing the same thing in Armenian, and there we go. So, and also what language we can just prepare, only we need more time to prepare that, and that's it for our demo. And also we can prepare the same also voice, Armenian, and also in other languages.
So we obviously had limited time. There was another cool feature that we talked about.
Yeah. There is also, we can just remind people that they, for example, they in that particular time that they can't answer something like that, we can just remind people that please do survey and answer that question, for example.
So
like
you don't
that.
have to do it all at once.
Yeah, so it's not. So that's it for our demo. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
You have any questions?
There's we have different numbers. For example, English number here, Armenian number here.
So think about, I'm not sure if you can see this very well, but if you had a poster in English telling you to take the census and you didn't speak English, that wouldn't be very helpful. So if you have something like this that says, you know, Armenian in Armenian, having a different number would be the ideal. We could set it up either way, but we thought that was the best approach.
Right now, just. Yes.
That's up in terms of the costs. Well, you could. I think a good question to ask is, what is the cost of having someone access it on the internet versus what is the cost of someone going in and filling it paper-wise in terms of time?
Just talk about your cost. I mean, you said that to set it up, English using the technology. Just talk about.
But I think the question really is the cost of the
To the user.
User.
I would think there is no cost, right?
Well, it depends on what type of text messaging plan you have. It's just text. How much does it cost to send a text?
So for probably for most people, there wouldn't be any charge because if it's a mobile 350 number that they're texting, unless they're being charged for every text, which I don't think exists nowadays, then I would say most of the time it would be just a free service.
Well, I think we also have to indicate on our meeting, we also indicated sponsors will be part of our telecommunication. So if you are like a mobile, like I have family in Italy, it would cost 1 cent. So obviously, if I have LICO and participate in his application, there will be some kind of bargain with that specific telecommunication. So it depends, first of all, what you have. You might have T-Mobile, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think you have to also look at that. That was one of our discussions that we made.
To say probably no cost, but again,
Remember that we
we don't know all the funds out there, and
Most people have unlimited these days.
Exactly.
most but not all. Probably there's some people who would prefer some kind of plan. It's just another tool, just another way for people to do. We figured, a lot of people have mobile, and it's easier to do it this way probably than, maybe go and log on a computer. Just another avenue, just to make it a little more accessible.
Yes, yes.
You mean in the slides? No, there was a picture of the text application, and there was another tool, which is a data-driven tool. It's using data from external sources to, in this case, it was the homeless population in the city of LA, but we could use that same tool to be able to do other things that are very relevant to the census.
And it also depends of what kind of finances behind it. So if you really want to do this 2020 consensus, the question is, will we be funded? Will there be some kind of financial support? So obviously, if you want a Ferrari, you're going to have to make sure that the quality of service is given out. So if you really want a 2020 consensus, you have to understand that the service that we're going to receive to make the consensus will help us make this beautiful application, will help us make this kind of thing to get through to those who have difficulties doing the consensus. So if we really want to get that done, we also need feedback. We also mentioned Carnival, having the community stick together. We're going to have people collaborating. We need sponsors. So if we have sponsors, we have money. If we have money, then we can have that kind of collaboration. Remember, we have a high population of immigrants who do not speak the word of English. So I, as a teacher, will use more visual. So if I'm participating in a telemarketing or whatever, Leica or T-Mobile, I will have access to visualization of sponsoring. Okay, you get 10% off if you do your consensus with us. So it's a marketing situation that our friend Patrick, everybody have discussed in this group.
So these are just ideas for today. Obviously, we put together within a couple of hours, but needs to be extended.
Yes. Thank you.
Team Getting Our Fair Share is next.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, organizers, for having us. Really appreciate it. So our slide, Census 2020, getting our fair share. Of course, I'm referencing, political realities, trying to get our fair share of funding. I'm Kevin, and our team members are also Edmund, Leslie, and Foon. So in our approach, we focused on assessing low response scores. We found low response scores integrate various information, including low income, non-English speakers, ethnic communities, and temporary or renter populations into spitting out a number that just represents the risk factor for these populations. So we identified why these groups were missed. First of all, they tend to have poor understanding of the survey and its significance. They also don't, when they do receive the surveys, they also don't return them at a significant rate. And there's also a wider generational movement away from mail and towards online or virtual services. So we offered 3 separate solutions. First of all, we want to optimize kiosk placements. Kiosk locations will be placed within postal offices or other areas of public congregation within areas that have low response scores. We also want to establish a multilingual census mobile application that integrates not only like a feedback, not only a survey service, but also provides capabilities for additional support services. And then we also want to collaborate with existing community partners to take advantage of pre-existing relationships. So this is the Census 2020 data. This was pulled from the GeoHub RPGIS, and it identifies some of the communities that are most at risk. And then we're going to talk about why we looked at that data.
Hello, thank you for having me. So we see this primarily as a resource allocation problem. It's very cool that in the 2020 census, there's going to be community kiosk, and but given limited resources, where do we put our efforts? What areas do we put them in? So we're looking at their low response rate. Those are the areas that have not a lot of mail response. Well, the way we see it is not enough to just look at that score alone to identify where to put these resources. So we built a new metric using both the low response score and population density, and we scale that to develop a priority list for the Census Bureau to actually put in the efforts. So what we did is we built the new metric using past data, and we do a visualization on the map, and together we put together a list of community centers that in those high risk, high impact areas. So just do a little demo. So here is just the areas that have low response score. And we identified the top 500 blocks that are highest density and has the low response rate. So if we look at it, we could see these areas have a lot of people living there. So if we actually set up kiosks here, we would get more bang for our buck, so to speak.
So our project, we also wanted to focus on the importance of community collaborations. This approach offers several advantages over just having the other approaches. But first of all, working with community partners, we can build on existing relationships they have with their clients. This is more cost efficient and arguably will be more effective in raising engagement rates for the census survey. So we want to identify community partners early on in the process that have a long-term commitment to those risk factors that were identified previously. So for example, the homeless population or people in temporary housing, we want to work with soup kitchens and homeless shelters, or for immigrants and other social cultural groups. For example, we can collaborate with the Latino Chamber of Commerce, who advocate for Hispanic small businesses. or the Tucci Foundation, which work with an immigrant Chinese Buddhist population at multiple locations in the San Gabriel Valley. So we want to establish these relationships early on and train the staff so that they can provide their own service, census survey, with minimal supervision from our side. So we also identified that education was a big barrier to survey response rates. So providing more education was also very important for us. We want to provide better translations and more translations of material, primarily in Spanish, but also some of the other languages that are widely spoken in the area, including Tagalog, Armenian, Chinese. And we also introduced today a website and mobile text-based app, which Edmund's going to talk a little bit more about.
So Foon talked about how we were optimizing the kiosk location in high impact area. This is mainly for outreach, and this will be working with the outreach community with the Census Bureau. For the public display, for the public facing app, we have a website, a mobile-based app, and a text-based app. And so this is to reach the younger audience for the website and the mobile app. And for older demographics, we have a text-based app and also where they could find the kiosk location. So here we have an online mobile-based app survey. In the second phone, we demonstrate the kiosk finder. And lastly, we, in conversation form, a text-based app. And this is basically kind of similar using Twilio, and it's maybe 3/4 cents per text. I think Leslie is gonna talk more about the kiosk finder. Sorry, one moment. So while she's setting up, the mobile app and the text-based app is mainly for low touch point, and this map finder will help for those who needs a more higher touch experience. So this will help find the actual kiosk.
So the app will open up with the About tab open, so give you a little bit of overview of how to use the app. So we have a little bit of the step-by-step instructions on the left panel here. And then after we use the new metrics to identify areas where we need to put more kiosks. So for now, we'll just use the libraries and post offices for now. But after we optimize the locations, and then they can go in here and then type in the addresses. For now, we'll just put like City Hall. And then we'll filter based on the mileage they want to travel, like from 1 mile to 5. And then for each one, we can go in and then say for post office, and then click the one you want, the closest one, and then it should give you a direction on how to get there. It may take a while, so it would be like a turn-by-turn direction on here below you can follow. And then also they can share this through to different social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and email. So they can spread the words and help us get more accurate counting. So yeah, that's it.
everyone see my mug here. How do I go back to the, what was the? Okay, here we go. Right, so our approach, just to quickly summarize, we were trying to improve like an organizational response. We realized that, you know, we have, there's gonna be limits based on funding and how much money we get. So we really tried to optimize what was already present and work with the community to improve census survey responses. We optimized the kiosk locations to target the low RS groups, improving the kiosk location finder, and we also aim for an approach that increases education through collaboration with partners in the community. So thank you very much.
That'll be a chatbot. Yeah, it'll be a script. Yeah, right. Yeah, we can collaborate and use Twilio-based, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think with this data we have, we actually could identify, let's say we have this high impact area in Watts, and our data actually includes more that we haven't been able to put in today, but we could say what type of population is actually living in this area. So from that knowledge, we could identify what type of social services and community centers that are particularly important to those groups. So that's how we could building better trust for these communities. So I think if these services are something that the community already depends on in their daily lives, this is a good way to gain their trust.
Did you have a second question, or oh, that was second. Okay. All right. Yes. Oh, sure. Well, we're integrating both like this app will also, first of all, it provides like educational services as well. So a background of why this census is significant, why filling it out will help, you know, the community. So there's that aspect, and we want to provide. Ideally, the trained staff will go to the various community organizations, and then kind of supervise the development of the census survey education, and then once they have that done, then the community collaborators can supervise themselves and just administer the surveys on their own. And this, I think, really just takes advantage of the strengths of these collaborators in the community. They know their community the best, so we want to take advantage of that. Any more questions? I think that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you teams, great ideas, a lot of fun. I want to check with my team 4 and just make sure, okay, we're good. So those are the 3 teams for today. We'll give the judges some time to collaborate. We'll give them, do you need about 10 minutes? Okay, so we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Has everyone turned in their raffle ticket? People need raffle tickets?
so sensitive it might have been crunched.
Oh.
And if this works, then that was what happened. Test 1 2. Test. Test 1 2.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, now we're one team.
These days, like passing around function parameters.
Oh, everyone's back here? Okay. Fantastic.
I'm gonna stand far in the back.
Oh, hi. Good seeing you.
I know, it's all email.
So thank you for participating in today's hackathon. I want to say a special thanks to the Los Angeles Public Library for hosting us today and putting this event on as part of their week of digital inclusion events. It's really great to see them taking an initiative and putting the census at the top of their priorities and including them in Digital Inclusion Week. I also want to thank the Office of Information Technology Agency with the City of Los Angeles for assisting us and helping us, me in particular, learn what a hackathon is. This is my first hackathon that I've participated in, so it's been a real pleasure to work with ITA in this process. Thank you to the County of Los Angeles for being a great partner in our Census 2020 initiative. And as always, the Office of Mayor Eric Garcetti has been so supportive of our Census 2020 effort and making it a priority for the City of Los Angeles for his office. So we're excited to move forward. And so before we make an announcement on the winning team, Dorothea is going to let you know what the prize for the winning team is.
So we put together some gift baskets or bags from our county offices, and we included museum entrance passes from the LA County Museum of Art, various mugs and pens, and a charge bank for electronic phones or computer chargers. And of course the great bag itself, an emergency kit, reusable lunch bags and trash bags and doggy disposable bags. We're very much into recycling and taking care of the environment. Highlighters, keyboard cleaners, and water bottles, and just kind of fun stuff. So we want to thank you from the County of Los Angeles.
Okay, now the moment that you've all been waiting for. So we had a really great time hearing and your presentations today and taking in all of the solutions that you provided. And really, all of the ideas, I think, have really great potential and try and strike a chord at what we're trying to accomplish, which is making sure that we engage hard-to-count populations and get them to actively participate in the census. So I want to applaud you for that, because all three teams met that criteria. And one team did stand out, and largely that standout was because in the framework that Dorothea covered this morning in terms of the outreach that we're preparing to engage in 2020, this solution aligns well with what we're building. And so that just really stood out in terms of something that we feel can be sustained in terms of what we want to build here in Los Angeles and how we want to engage the community. And so that gave this team an edge. And so we want to congratulate the team for the Census 2020 Hackathon, team Getting Our Fair Share. If you can please come up here and accept your gifts. Oh, and just also I wanted to mention, so the winning team, aside from getting these gift bags, is also invited to present their solution to our countywide outreach complete count committee, which will be convening on May 24th to present their winning idea. And they will be receiving a resolution from the City of Los Angeles recognizing their accomplishment. And before you leave, if you can make sure that we have your addresses and your full complete name so we can get your information correctly on the certificate.
So we have 4 things that we're going to raffle off. First name for a beautiful bag. Rakshan Grover. Yes, yes. If you've won already, please pass it on. Sorry, I'll come back to the mic. Next, we have another bag, Nicole S. Woohoo! Thank you, Nicole, for coming and participating. We know you had some great ideas. Okay. Now we have a gift basket from the LA Public Library. Prav. Yay. All right. And one last prize, but not least, we have an iPad. An iPad Pro. And there's no name. Oh. All right, let's try again, But they don't have another ticket. Okay. All right. Okay, what happened? No name, blank. Mia Kramer. Woo! Picture. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you coming and participating today. We hope you learned something new, met some new friends, some new people to work and collaborate with, and we look forward to staying in touch with you. Some have already asked what's next, so we'll make sure that you are in touch for what's next. So we'll keep the Slack channel active, and we have your contacts via your registrations on Eventbrite. Thank you so much, and we wish you a... And yes, we're hiring. So if you are interested, lacity.org is hiring. What about the county? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
I might